Jesus said, "Man cannot live on bread alone, but from every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." You're listening to Daily Truth.
We live in a culture, in a generation that does not honor its father and its mother. We don't honor those who came before us. Rather, we dishonor them. We seek to tear down their monuments and their statues with such unmitigated arrogance. Every generation, every culture has blind spots. You might say, well, that's a huge blind spot. Well, 60 million babies aborted in their mother's womb is a pretty big blind spot also. Think about that. 200 years from now, people look back on our time, our generation, and even the Christians. You might say, well, I'm not for abortion. But even the Christians, they'll say, why were they not picking up arms, literally, and overturning abortion? If it was justified for 650,000 of our sons to bleed out and die in order to abolish the evil of slavery, is a war justified to abolish what has ultimately brought about the murder of 60 million children in their mother's wombs in less than half a century? Now, personally, I would argue that it's not justified, because I would argue consistently, if I'm going to be consistent in that viewpoint, that the Civil War was not justified. The great white supremacist, Abraham Lincoln, ultimately did many of the things that he did simply to take power away from the states, to collect it, centralize it, with a federal national head. Now, he's remembered fondly in American history, but the point is that I believe that we could have abolished slavery as many other European nations did peacefully, without a war. It's not to say that it didn't need to be abolished, it's simply to say, I think there was a better way. And I think you have to hold that view in order to be consistent. Because if you really say the Civil War was just and it was glorious and it's worth us glorifying in our history today, then I really find it difficult to make an argument for why we're not taking up arms and storming the White House in order to abolish abortion. My point, my larger point, is simply to say this. Every generation has massive problems. And I guarantee there will be people, not even 200 years from now, but just a few decades from now, who will look back on our generation. Because here's the trick. If you want to be on the right side of history, obey the Bible. Trust Jesus and obey His law. And Christ will win. And the church will win. Because Christ is the head of the church, and the church is His body. So a day is coming. I don't know when. I don't know how long it'll take. But a day is coming where people will look back on the right side of history and say that abortion was atrocious, an atrocious evil. And there will be some who will say, why did they not fight against it? And again, hear me, I'm not advocating that we should. But my point is merely to say, there will be many who will criticize us for our complacency. There will be many who will criticize us for our materialism, for all kinds of different idols that we're aware of, but our consciences have been assuaged, that we're not really bothered by, and other idols and sins that we don't even see. And I hope that future generations will be kinder than our generation has been. Honor thy father and thy mother. I hope that our posterity, that our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will be more obedient to the law of God. And the fifth commandment that says to honor thy father and thy mother, I hope that generations in the future will be more obedient to this law than our generation has been. And our attitude towards those who preceded us.
Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it.
If you would consider supporting Right Response Ministries, we'd be incredibly grateful. You can do so by going to rightresponseministries.com/donate to give your gift of any amount. If you're not able to support us financially, that's okay. You can still support us in a great regard simply by subscribing to our YouTube channel, clicking the bell, and of course sharing our content with all your friends and family. We can't do this without you, your support, and your prayers. So thank you.